Here's the whole process I went through to design and build a feedback widget using Figma and Next.js. If you're thinking about becoming a unicorn who can design and code, or want to build your own products, or just want to see an end-to-end process on a simple example, this video might be interesting for you, although keep in mind it's not a full tutorial. Last year I've launched a website with 3D print projects and quickly figured out I need an effective way to gather feedback from visitors in order to better understand what experience they have, as well as gather any ideas or requests for new products. As there are many existing solutions for this need, I've jumped right into exploring them. There is Hotjar, Hello Next, Kenny, Upvote, Wisepops, UserSnap, UserVoice, and more. But none of them was a good fit for me. Either they have too many features, are too expensive, have poor design, lack of customization, or no widget at all. So at this point I decided to build it myself. As the widget has to be very simple and I have existing components from real website, I've jumped straight into Figma and done several iterations starting at mid-fidelity design. I've explored different layouts and styles, updated emojis, added error and success states to finally land with designs for 9 different states. Rating with emojis is effortless and engaging for visitors, and it's easy to measure and track the change over time. I'm using customer satisfaction score, which is a 5-grade system with neutral grade in the middle, similar to customer effort score. There is also Net Promoter Score, but I think having too many grades and no emojis creates unnecessary friction. Next, it's important to gather new ideas or feature requests from the widget. And in this case, rating doesn't make sense, so there is a drop-down for selecting a type of feedback. Finally, a prominent call to action and a disclaimer that no personal information will be gathered from this form to, again, remove unnecessary friction. Let's jump into code. First, let's see how the UI is built. I am using Next.js for Frontend and Backend, and because Next.js is generating static content that search engines and bots can read, I want to make sure bots won't see it and therefore won't be able to submit it. In order to do that, in app.js file there is a setTimeout function inside a useEffects hook that will run only once to inject the widget exactly 1 second after the page is loaded. Let's see the widget component itself. For styling, I'm using styled components, and for validation, React hook form. The widget has 4 use state hooks, one for visibility, one for message to display errors coming from backend, one for indicating before and after submit state, and last one for submitting in progress state. There is one more state which is managed by React hook form, and it holds currently selected feedback type. At the bottom there is a button used to show the widget, which is initially hidden. There is a header, an error message, visible only if there is something to show, and the main part is the set of inputs. Finally, call to action and a disclaimer. Let's dig into inputs. First one is for selecting a type of feedback. I've decided to go with the native browser dropdown instead of building custom one as you have seen on the designs. It works out of the box, looks good enough, and has saved me a lot of development time. Next, there is an emoji rating input. It's actually hidden and used only to hold the rating value, while the visible part is in rating emoji control component. As you can see, I am passing a function in a prop so that this component can control the value of rating input. Finally, I'm able to show validation errors as rating is required. Next, there is a place to type a feedback. This is optional when rating experience, but required when proposing an idea. Label and placeholder text are also different for both cases. I've made this feedback type map to easily configure and add new feedback types in the future. One of them could be to report a bug. Last but not least, there is a thank you screen. For creating API endpoints in Next.js, there is an API folder. Let's look at this endpoint which maps to API/feedback. I'm using AVG for backend side validation and MongoDB for storing feedback. It's a very simple endpoint that accepts only post method, validates request, and then saves it into MongoDB. Let's take a quick look at AGV schemas. Validation is crucial to prevent code injection into MongoDB. Make sure all your inputs are strings or numbers and don't accept any additional fields. When adding to MongoDB, make sure to explicitly add each field instead of passing whole request payload as one object. Back to the frontend part. To send feedback from widget to the API endpoint, I've created submit feedback handler, which is using fetch method. First, it clears any messages, sets the submitting state to true, and after there is a response of 200, the widget displays thank you screen. When there is an error in response or no response at all, an error message will show up. After testing the whole widget locally, then on staging server, I am ready to hit that deploy to production button in GitLab. Now I can use MongoDB Compass to easily see new feedback sent by visitors. That's all. Let me know if this video was helpful and if you'd like to place this widget on your website or web app. Thanks for watching and see you next time.